Welcome, welcome, welcome. Another week of the Living Clean podcast. I'm so happy you're here. This week, we're actually going to talk about the difference in living your life out of intention versus habit. What the difference is, why a simple choice of words and change of the word that you actually focus on and use can make a dramatic difference in how your life feels and whether it motivates you or devastates you. Stick around, meet me inside. Let's get going.
Hi friend, welcome to Healthy in a Wild World. I'm your host, Bonnie Wilderson-Heiss. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist and health practitioner. This podcast is for people who are sick and tired of feeling lost in society's view of what it takes to achieve and maintain a healthy lifestyle. It's for those looking for an alternative to yo-yo dieting, strict restrictions, overwhelming exercise programs, and mindset activities that feel like a complete waste of time. My guests and I will share conversations and tips that teach you how to eat all your faves, be active without ever hitting a gym, and meditate on your own terms to find the unique path to a healthy lifestyle that fits into your world. It's time to break some rules and pave a new path to health and wellness. Are you ready to find your path through this wilderness? Let's get started.
What if a simple change in the words that you use can change your outlook on getting better, on feeling sick today, and the possibility of healing and living a better life in the future? That's what this podcast is really all about. A simple choice in words and change in the words that we use can really dramatically change the way that we perceive them psychologically, the way that they feel, the way that your life feels. Because when you're sick, when you're tired, when you have no clue what is happening or why you feel like crap, and you really don't know where to start to recover from it, life can feel really horrible. It can feel like you're just struggling to get through each and every day. And it becomes a very long string of habits, right? Or at least that's how it feels. It feels like chores. It feels like you're just going through the motion to get through life, to take care of the people that you need to take care of, whether you have kids, whether you have dogs, whether you have, a spouse or a life partner, whatever you call the people around your world. If you are in a career where you serve other people, which most of us are, we have responsibilities to the outside world. But when you feel like crap and you're just trying to get through every single day, sometimes just a simple change in the words that we use can really dramatically change our outlook. And by improving our outlook, by improving what we perceive as a final outcome, we can actually change our journey. We can make it better. We can make it worse. We can do a lot of things. Our brains are absolutely amazing creatures, and they can play games with us just like we consciously can play games with them, right? Our brain cells, they think they are so smart, and in reality, if you look at your brain as though you have two sides, one is the conscious side that we can control, and the other side is the subconscious side where we can't control, right? So when I talk about brain cells and I am talking about the subconscious side, the side we have no control over, right? Well, if consciously we choose to change certain words. So for example, today we're going to talk about habit versus intention and living your life through, in intention versus out of habit. Now, another way to look at the words and the difference between habit versus intention is to kind of look at the term cheat meal versus reward meal. I used cheat meal for a very, very long time. I am guilty. But here's what happens is in your head, it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. And in reality, a balanced, healthy diet includes indulgence here and there. It's good for our soul. It's good for our spirit. Yes, I know having a very sweet chocolate pie with lots of whipped cream and stuff on top is not good for every single day. I get it. But if it's at a party and you're at a party and you haven't had one in a while and you have no allergies to anything or, react to anything that is in that pie, have a slice. That's not a reward. It's not a cheat. If you're looking at meals like that, it's just an indulgence. That's all it is. So when you're going through any sort of shift in daily, day-to-day habits, okay, then you want to instill some rewards, right? Those are strategic. They're not cheap meals. They are, I have lived my life healthy for so long that an indulgence here and there, not going to be a bad thing. It's actually going to be really healthy. It's going to trick my body. It's going to tell my subconscious that, hey, not every day is going to be the same, which our brains may not like changes overall, but shaking things up, making sure that we have a variety of different activities, foods, and experiences in our lives actually makes us happier. Even if you're a homebody, you don't have to leave the house or, get out of your introverted self and try and pretend to be an extrovert to have those experiences. And that kind of brings us back to habit versus intention. And I have a question for you, something I want you to think about through this podcast and beyond. What would happen if, rather than looking at your life and every day of your life as a series of habits, if you focus more on an intention that you want for your life? I want to live my life and feel joyful every day. I want to feel loved every day. I want to feel like I am not only absorbing that from the world around me, but I'm projecting that as well. So I'm sharing the love and the satisfaction and the joy that I feel in my life with everybody and everything around me. I feel like this exchange between us is natural, and by sharing it, we just spread it even further, and that positivity improves the health and well-being of all living creatures, organic, inorganic, speaking, barking, growling, like you can hear in the background with these puppers. It helps us all to be healthier, and when you look at intention from the perspective of your healing, so you're sick, you're trying to figure out what's going on, and you're trying to heal from different ailments, and you're not getting any answers, it is important to shift certain habits. However, your habits should not rule your life. So think about it. What would your life look like if you started living it less out of habit and more out of intent? Is it better? Do you think that there will be more freedom within your life to just enjoy the little things? What is the benefit of it? It might be that, living habit to habit to habit and trying to recreate these habits and then practice these habits, it can become overwhelming. It can become mundane. And if there isn't a why behind something that I'm doing, I don't know about you all, but if I don't have a why, I don't stick with it. I needed a why to get over my dairy allergy. I needed a why to figure out what was going on and fix it long term. Now, I didn't find my why for a while, and my husband will be the first person to tell you that we basically hit a point where he looked at me and he's like, you can't do this to yourself anymore. We went down to Waco and I think we were looking at we went to go pick up our new car a couple of years ago and met a friend for lunch at Chuy's. And if anybody's in Texas, oh my gosh, Chuy's is like the best Mexican restaurant. It's Tex-Mex. They have this creamy jalapeno dip. Oh, it's to die for. I had a drop on a tortilla chip. I literally stuck the corner, the very, very tippy tip of my tortilla chip into the creamy jalapeno so you just get a taste. And about 20, 30 minutes later, when we got in the car to drive home, which, North Dallas, it's about a 2-hour drive, hour and a half, depending on traffic, I effectively wilted. I sat down in the chair and he said it looked like I melted toward the floor. Like I could not hold my head up. It took 3 days to recover from that. And it was just sheer exhaustion for 3 days. And up to that point, I had been living my life practicing habits. And I remember the moment I thought, this is ridiculous. I think it was the second day that I was at home. I couldn't get up and get out because I was so exhausted. Getting up from the couch and getting a glass of water felt like I was running a marathon. And I don't know, I hit a point in the afternoon where I was just like, you know what? I'm done. This is ridiculous. Living habit to habit. I've got my habits established because I had been fighting a dairy allergy and managing it for several years at that point. So something needs to change. And I had started talking to my clients the year before about how we need to stop using the word cheat and start using reward and indulgence. And we were talking in one of our walks after this happened about how words really change the way that you perceive situations, the way that you perceive things that you're going through, and the things that you have to manage. I mean, our lives all have things that we have to manage, whether it's a chronic illness, an autoimmune dysfunction, a food allergy we have to try and minimize exposure to, reactions and sensitivities to environmental concerns. I mean, stress from your job, toddler puppies like this morning who play for hours and you can see that they're exhausted. They're just absolutely exhausted. It's like watching a little child and they're having a toddler meltdown because they're so exhausted and they don't realize that all they need to do is just stop. Just let it out and just stop for just a minute. And these things all affect our lives, right? And if you really look at what you perceive and how you phrase and describe the situations in front of you, if you describe it from a negative perspective or something that your brain perceives as negative, then now your emotions and your self-worth and just your overall mood diminishes. And I don't think everybody can go around the world and be happy-go-lucky all the time, but, being satisfied and happy with your life is a really cool feeling, you guys. And it's possible. I live it. It's possible. Yes, I have crappy days. But a simple change in the words that I started to use when I had that incident and I really started thinking about it and diving deep. I mean, this is something that you really need to dive deep internally, process, journal, talk it out, whatever your process is to kind of flush through things that you're thinking to figure out what your intention in your life is. Is it to find joy like mine is? I want to live and experience as much of this life as possible. And I will do everything I can to make sure that that happens. To make sure that I feel like what I'm projecting in the world is joy so that I can get that back. And in doing so, that means I need to learn about other people. I need to learn about different cultures, different places in this world. And continuous learning is part of my intention in my world. Now, when it comes to managing my health, that's specifically where the difference between using the word habit versus intention and living my life out of intention rather than habituals comes into play and really makes a big difference in how I feel when I wake up and how I feel when I go to sleep. My habits and the things that I use to strategically manage exposures and reduce the possibilities of them, they are now subconscious actions. Yes, that takes a minute. We talked about, if you haven't listened to the podcast about why it takes a year to heal, go back, listen to that. Because once you get through that year, now your habits are subconscious. And living your life out of habit rather than intention just makes it so that each step that you take in your day is just a step-by-step process, right? But do you really want to live your life like this? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. That's a dance routine. That is not life. Now, I said that and I immediately got images of my dance teacher in high school. It's hilarious the way that she used to say that, and she would snap her fingers. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and done. No one wants to live their life like that. Bottom line, right? So you create your habits, and your habits help you in really manifesting this life of intention. Okay, whatever your intention is for your life, those habits help you create a better intention, I guess is a better way to say that, a healthier intention. So rather than, shifting into these new habits, you have a choice. Now, granted, some of you out there are sick enough that shifting into healthier habits is now no longer a choice and it's either life or death, right? But living your life out of intention allows you to feel as though you are having a choice. You have a choice. This is your life, right? Remember the saying, your body, your health, your way. So ultimately, the benefit of living your life out of intention versus out of habit is that it decreases your overwhelming feelings, right? When you're trying to shift habits, it doesn't feel as overwhelming. It feels like, okay, well, this is my intention for my life. I need to instill these habits to make it so that my intention is innate. It is something that's so subconscious and so embedded within my brain that I can just go live my life and enjoy the benefit of it, right? The benefit that comes from, here's my intention, and oh my gosh, I'm living my intention. I am living the life that I dreamed of. I'm living the life that I desire. Now, that does not mean dream life, house in the woods, house on the beach, earning $1 million. What that means is, here's my real life. How can I make the best out of my real life? And once you set that intention, whatever it is for you, to wake up healthy every day, to wake up feeling energized every day, to wake up feeling like you don't know how you're going to make it, rather than you don't know how you're going to make it, you feel like you are a badass and you are going to make it through and your day is going to be phenomenal. There's a saying on my wall, and I'm kind of looking at it right now in my office. And it says, we live with passion, we feast on life, and everything else. Let me see. Experience is what makes better feel fine. Now, when you feel like your life is a choice and the habits and the actions and the things that occur within that life, for the most part, granted, life throws us curveballs and there's things that we can't control. But for the most part, when you feel like you have a choice, that your life's intention is you choosing, this is how I want to live my life. Okay? Now, how I want to live my life means I have to do this, this, and this habitually, right? And for a little bit of time, it's going to feel like it's forced. When it stops feeling like force is when you know that those habits are now in your subconscious. And at that point, you are no longer living habit to habit to habit. At that point, you are living your life's intention. And how wonderful would it feel if you hit that point? Now, I have one final thing, and then I'm going to leave you with that thought because I really want you to think about, what is your life's intention? What do you want from your life? Whether you're ill, whether you're fighting something and you don't know why, and you're having all these symptoms and you're slowly figuring out, whether you figured it out and you're trying to manage it, put together strategic strategies that help you manage whatever your health situation is, right? Whatever your body is right now. I want you to really think about what you want your life's intention to be and what it would mean for you to live your life out of intention or with intention versus living it out of habits. All right, drive your life with intention, not habits. What would it feel like? All right, so take a deep breath. I definitely want you to think about this. And before you start getting overwhelmed, let me leave you with this. Unconscious decisions help us focus on the positive in life. They help us become the best us we can be. All right, Dr. Seuss. There is no one who is youer than you, right? You are the best you there is. So why don't we make you the best you possibly can feel like? All right, so finally, if intention feels like it's a little too overwhelming, then backtrack. Start with a few habits. Consider and start thinking about what you want your life intentions to be. Because most of us actually already have it and we're striving towards it. We just haven't consciously identified what that is yet. So if you start thinking about it, then you can kind of focus on that perspective. And that's where you shift from living your life out of habit into living it with intention. All right. If you're serious about changing your life, you will find a way. If not, you will find an excuse. Our conscious mind tells us whether we want to do something or we don't want to do something. Our subconscious tells us all the fears and the reasons why we should and shouldn't do things, right? Say hi to Kinsey over there. She wanted to say hello to you guys. Now, I don't want to leave you with that quote and have you thinking, oh my gosh, she's telling us that if I'm not working hard enough, that I'm going to make excuses and things aren't going to shift and things aren't going to change. Your health and your body, and whether you heal, whether you don't heal, it truly is up to you. Now, there are painful situations that take significant amounts of time and working with multiple practitioners to figure out what's happening and find solutions to managing them well. Live your life with intention. Feel and really take a minute to embrace what that would feel like in your life. Is that going to feel good? Is it going to feel like you are confident and motivated to finding an end to suffering? Are you ready to stop trying to find habits and start really focusing on the end result and what you truly want from your life? That's ultimately what it's all about. We get one life to live. Your life is your choice. As long as you don't hurt anybody else in the process, your life is yours. Make it the best life you possibly can, because you never know when it's your time to go. And it sucks for the people around you that lose you. So if you can get through your life and you can feel at the end of that life that you lived your best life possible, then kudos. Good job. All right, so I want to hear what you think about the whole perspective of living your life out of habit versus with intention. Let me know your thoughts. If you have anything really, feedback on this topic or any others, let me know. I will chat with y'all later. Thanks for listening. What'd you think? I'm excited to hear your thoughts, and I'm always looking to improve the podcast. So leave me a review or send me a message with your honest opinion, questions, and takeaways. Want to continue the discussion with us? Just click on the link in the show notes and join us in a private community. And as always, remember, it is time to stop struggling and start enjoying life again. See you next time.